So if you are going to be doing this with me tonight, we're going to start with our food processor, and I think that we might get started. Okay. Now, you know me, I love the quick, easy dinners, and this is another one of those. It will be cooked in around 20-ish minutes, longer if you want. People are different with their bolognese. I'm going to give some tips of other ways to do this recipe as well. But I'm going to start by getting on there and make sure that that screen's on, and getting on to doing my veggies in here. Now, I'm going to start with the carrot because they're a little bit harder. Now, when I do veggies in a bolognese, I have to hide them. No one wants to see chunky vegetables. If you are okay with that, you don't need to go as hardcore as I'm about to on my poor vegetables. So let's get going. Do you see what I mean? If you don't want it like that, honestly, please don't feel that you have to. It's just that the only way that this bolognese is going to be eaten in this house is that if all of those vegetables are hidden. No one needs to know what's in there. Hopefully they're not listening, but I have got my carrots, my zucchinis, and my mushrooms that now look like that. So an easy way to hide them. Now, if you don't want to do that, like I said, you could just do a really slow pulse on your veggies to get the crunchiness, the thickness, the size that you want. I'm hiding mine, absolutely hiding mine. So we'll just pop that aside for now. We'll get onto our bolognese sauce and we'll get on to adding those veggies in just a moment. Okay, so we'll get rid of that. This is what I love, that we turn our food processor into our cook expert. So it's a really handy thing in the house. I know that those of you that have got it would know that the footprint in your house then is just that A4 size piece of paper to be able to do so many things. So I'll just get rid of that. Clean that bowl up because I want to use that. Okay, so let's get going with our bolognese sauce. Okay, now I know you all have your different recipes and your secret ingredients and all those things to your bolognese sauce. So if you want to share your secret ingredient, by absolutely all means, feel free. The other great thing with this recipe is if you don't want to do it with the risoni like I am tonight, well, actually I'm not, but I'll get to that. If you don't want to do it with risoni, you can just do the sauce. So forget about the risoni, because not everybody, to me, it's a bit of an acquired kind of texture, the risoni, to be able to put that through your pasta. Some people like a bigger pasta. If you're watching this tonight and you are cooking along and you think, don't really want to do risoni, or you don't have risoni, just cook pasta separately and use this as your bolognese sauce on top. So you don't have to add the pasta. You can do that later. You can add zoodles if you want to do that later as well, and just serve it on top of zoodles. But this is just a really good base bolognese sauce that I am going to turn into that risoni. Okay, so we're going to get started by popping in my onion, and I'm going to pop in my garlic like so. Sorry, just make sure I have the seal in. And all I'm going to do for this one is we're going to go in to our expert, and I'm just going to actually pulse until I get that. Now, I will tell you the best way to actually chop an onion, and I shouldn't have done it that way because I should have shown you this. You can't see through the top, but the best way to chop an onion is to go along here, where are we, to our speed, and then slowly increase the speed. And what I find is that actually chops onion and garlic way better than any other way. So start on 3, slowly turn up the speed, because what you'll find is rather than doing the pulse, and I'll show you what this is going to look like inside. Obviously I'm going to scrape the sides down, but you can see how you've got that really good chopped onion look in there. So it just means that we can then just scrape that down and keep going. I find you don't actually have to scrape and then chop again. Okay, so we'll just knock all of that down because we want all of that to fry up for us. Okay, oh, it's stinging my eyes. I was hoping I'd get away with that. Okay, quick, let's get the lid on. So I'm just going to add some olive oil in there. It's about a tablespoon of olive oil. I'm going to pop that lid back on, and I'm just going to pop around here because I'm going to pop it onto Expert. And let me just double check. Expert 3 minutes, 2A, 120. The reason I like 2A is because it actually gives, let me just add that to 3 minutes. It actually means that it fries for a little bit, and then it, oh gosh, what am I doing? It fries for a little bit, but then it stops so that it sort of, you know, can actually fry in the pan, and then it will move it again. And we're going to go at 120, so we find if we go backwards, it's going to be a lot easier and faster to do that. So 2A, 3 minutes at 120. I do like to take the cap off when I'm frying off my onion. And as I said, the 2A is just so that it stirs, then it stops for a little bit, starts to fry to the bottom. Oh, you can see that steam coming out already. We love that. And then it's gonna do its thing. So we'll let that go for those few minutes. And then we're gonna get the rest of it ready. So what have we got next? We've got our, oh, that's actually what I did forget to add. This is why I love you can add through the top, is I am gonna add my mixed herbs in there now too. So it's about 2 teaspoons. And they're just Italian mixed herbs, so nothing terribly fancy. I'll just make sure that that's stirred in, because I probably just put it all over the blade for that bit, but that's okay. Oh, I love the smell. Onion, garlic, herbs all going in together. Okay, so I'll put that back on. Oh, I shouldn't have opened that because now my eyes are going to sting. Okay, so we'll get that going. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add our mince. Now, I've got 500 grams of mince. If you were using the XL bowl, I don't know whether you've been watching TVSN, we've had the XL bowl as an offer, and it's been going absolutely crazy. So it's a really good one at this time of year too, as we do our batch cooking. I promise I'm not crying for any other reason except that those onions are stinging my eyes. So we're gonna add our mince in just a moment. So if you were doing this in a fry pan or a saucepan, you'd do it a very similar way, but obviously you have to, you know, be stirring it with your onions and things, so you can't just be letting it go. But this way, you know, we've got that one bowl and we're going to add everything as we go. So we'll let that get down and then we'll pop our mince in. So there's some exciting things I want to tell you as well, so I must not forget that. Now, the pasta issue. Should I tell you now? So there must be a Risoni shortage out there. I don't know whether anyone else found the same, but I hunted in 2 supermarkets today for Risoni and I couldn't get it. And I'd already used what I had when I was testing the recipe. So an apology right from the start. I actually have to put in some little macaroni that I found that only takes 8 minutes to cook, which is actually really good. It's going to still work for this recipe. So don't stress. Same deal for you though. If you couldn't get Risoni, maybe there is a shortage, I don't know. If you couldn't get it, just make the bolognese sauce and do a separate pasta. You don't have to mix it together. You don't have to cook the pasta in with the bolognese. You can do it all separately, so it's absolutely no drama. And that's why I think this is a really good bolognese recipe base. So if you do want to do it on other things, whether it's your zoodles or you want to put it in lasagna or you want to do it with different types of pasta, cook it exactly the same way we're going to do it tonight, except when it says to add the pasta, you don't, and you continue cooking. The other thing I like with the bolognese is to cook it for longer. Now, I know that we try to do our recipes on a Thursday night within that sort of 30-minute time frame. So I actually have got this in the 30 minutes or just under, and it still will cook through. But I do find, and those that are, you know, have a really good bolognese recipe probably have the same opinion, that, you know, really let it cook and let it cook through. It changes a little bit as well. So it's okay. This is a 30-minute recipe. We're going to do it, and it's still beautiful. It's still absolutely, you know, fantastic recipe. But we want things that are quick during the week. Who wants things that you're in, you know, work? Oh, that smells so good. That you've been at work all day and then you have to come home and make, you know, great big gourmet meals. Okay, so we've just popped our mince in there. Let me just wash my hands. I'll just wipe my hands. Okay, perfect. Now I'm going to do exactly the same thing there, but I'm actually going to drop it to 1A and we're going to go for 5 minutes. Okay. Okay, beautiful. So we're going to just let that cook up. Now I'm just going to pop the lid back on. So that 1A again gives it a little bit of a stir, lets it stop for a while so that it can brown, gives it a little bit more of a stir. So we're going to get that browning through the whole lot of our mince. So we'll let that go for its 5 minutes. Now we've got to get ready our passata. So just a bottle of that. If you're clever enough and you make your own, it's a really good idea when you find tomatoes that are, you know, sometimes at your supermarket or at your grocery store, they have like bags of tomatoes that need to be used. Really great time to be able to buy and make your own passata. So it's a really yummy one to be able to do. I have bought it today, so I do apologise. I didn't have tomatoes, and it's been a bit hectic. So we're going to do it that way. And then we're also going to add in our... Now, I want to know what your secret ingredient is to a spaghetti bolognese or to a bolognese sauce. Does anyone want to share? You can't be shy. You have to actually tell us what your secret ingredient is. You don't have to tell us how much or how little, or if you don't want to give it away. Mine is barbecue sauce. That is my secret ingredient. That's it. I know, it's simple. Who would have ever thought? Does anyone else put barbecue sauce in their spaghetti bolognese or their lasagna bases or any of those? That's mine. That's what I do. So we're also then going to add our veggies that we've chopped and diced again. You could have done them a lot larger than me. I'm hiding. I'm getting them in there. Once that tomato sauce gets through, nobody ever knows there's vegetables in there. So it's a really great one. It's also a really good one when we talk about, you know, the cost of living and making sure we don't throw anything out. We're not throwing our veggies out. There's no reason why you couldn't have done this and pop that in the freezer for when you're ready to make bolognese. So if you're at the end of the week, you're about to do your groceries again, you've got zucchinis and whether it's the same, zucchinis, carrots and mushrooms left over, get them into your food processor, process them all up, ziplock them or container them, pop them into the freezer, because there's no reason why you can't just defrost that and throw it into your bolognese when you're ready to make it. So it's little things like that that I find make a really big difference on the budget as well, because I'm not then having to go out to buy a zucchini, a carrot and a handful of mushrooms when potentially I've got it there already. And there's so many other things you could hide that in, okay? So there's so many other recipes that you can hide your veggies in that will allow you to then use what you've got in the freezer ready to go. So all of those little tips and tricks are the things that we really want to make sure that we're using and we're doing, because it's sad how much we really do throw out. So it's really important that we do use that. Okay. I don't have my cheap mirror that I can see the time, so we must be close. We just have to wait till it buzzes. Okay, so I did tell you about my pasta. We're all ready to go there. We're then going to add our sauces and our veggies in and our stock. Now, you can either do some stock cubes into 3 cups of water or just 3 cups of beef stock, so whatever it is that was easier for you. I vary depending on what's in the pantry. If you're clever enough to make your own beef stock, then absolutely use that. We definitely want to do that. I will admit, I've never made beef stock. So I've made chicken stock and I've made stock for seafood, and I've made obviously my veggie stock, which I use all the time, but I've never done beef stock. So I think that could be one that I need to get onto and try. Okay, how are we going there? Yeah, a minute to go. Okay, so I'm just going to have a quick look. I'm actually quite happy with that. I can still see a little bit of the pink in some of the beef, but it's still got a minute to go. That will stir through. If at the end of your 5 minutes it is still a little bit pink, it's okay. We're going to be cooking it for a lot longer anyway, so it definitely will get cooked through. But like I said, that's all now mixing in, and there's going to be almost none of that that's going to be pink at all. So we'll do our veggies for 5 minutes, and then we're going to add our pasta for 10. Okay. Now this pasta that I had to substitute for actually says that it cooks in 8. So I will check it after 8 minutes just to make sure. My big tip with this recipe, and I will say it more than once, is when it's finished, you will think that it's not cooked. Okay, do not make the mistake of continuing to cook it, because what you want at the end is that risoni, or, you know, if I'm now doing this baby macaroni, you want it to be a little bit crunchy. Well, not crunchy, I don't know whether crunchy is the word, but it's got to have that little bit of bite in it. The reason you want that is because you want to sit it and rest it. By the time you get your plates out, you get everybody into the kitchen for dinner, you get your Parmesan ready to grate, you get your glass of wine poured. Oh, that's what I forgot, the glass of wine. You get your glass of wine poured and all of that. It is going to be ready for you to serve up, okay? So please don't think, oh, it's not cooked, it's not right. It is amazing, and it just keeps cooking as it sits there. So you don't want to overcook it, because that will otherwise not be the best. Okay, so I will show you. That was just 5 minutes, but you can see, I don't know whether you can see, but you can see that that meat in there is pretty much all browned. So that is what we want to be able to do. Like I said, if it's a little bit pink, don't worry about it. It's all good. It will continue to cook as we go. Okay, so I'm just going to push all that in, and we're going to do our sauces. Okay, so what have we got? We've got our passata. I know that some people like to add wine to their, and some of you might have written that on your, as your secret ingredient, but people do like to do that. We're going to add our, I think it was 2 tablespoons of barbecue sauce, and I measured them. I'll show you. 1, 2. See, really well measured. Okay, we're going to do a couple of tablespoons of, I think it was tablespoons. Let me just double check before I, yeah. I make this so often, honestly, I don't even know why I had to check. So this is pretty close to what I would normally do as my bolognese sauce, actually. I don't always do passata. Quite often I will buy the 800 gram can of, I think is it Ardmona or something, the brand? And it's an 800 gram can of crushed tomatoes. Sometimes if I have real tomatoes, I'll just dice those up and I'll pop them in there. So everybody's different when it comes to that tomato sauce. We've got our herbs in there already. We're going to add our vegetables. Now, you know how I do like to push the limit on this, how much is going into this. I'm pushing the limit. Okay, it's going to come really close to the max line, but that's okay, because that's what sorry, you can't see my face when I do that. That might be a good thing for some of you. Okay, let's just get all that in there. Beautiful. Oh, yum. And have I missed anything? I think that I need to add my stock. Okay, this is where I really start to push it. Haven't got the pasta in there yet. It's all right. I'm an expert. Ooh, look at that. And we need that liquid because we need to cook off that pasta. So we're going to pop that in, and I'm going to pop that on for 5, but I'm going to up the temperature. So we're going to go for 5 minutes. Because and this is where I talk about how we want to do a nice, fast, easy, quick meals for during the week. We're going to whack that right up to 140 degrees. Okay, now we want that because we want that heat in there. We want to actually get this sauce to the point of almost bubbling. So we want to get it really, really hot and absolutely ready to go for us. So we've got our passata in, our barbecue sauce, our veggies, our stock. Our herbs, onion and garlic are all in there. We're doing well. Get rid of all that, get rid of that. There's not a lot of washing up on this one either. So these couple of things we'll be throwing into the dishwasher, and then I'll just wash up my food pro. I'm just going to grab some paper towel. And we're going to be ready to go. I keep using that bowl, but actually I'm going to serve in that. Now I'm going to serve this up with some Parmesan cheese. We're going to grate on the top. We're going to give that 5 minutes to really get bubbling in there. It's a shame I don't have a cameraman to show you that, but you know, you don't always get what you want, do you? And we'll let that go. Okay, so let's just get all this out of the way. My Parmesan ready to grate on top. Okay. Beautiful. So I'll wait till the next one actually to tell you some things we've got coming up. But we do have, you know, if you check out our website and you make sure that you are subscribed to our newsletter. So the newsletter is a really good one to be kept updated on what's new. Also really good to be kept updated on offers. So people are always asking, what's the offer for Mother's Day? What's the offer for Easter? What's the offer? You know, those sorts of things. So always make sure that you're on there and you have a look. If you're not getting our updates, make sure you subscribe to the newsletter. So that's a really great way for you to see what's new, what's coming. There's some really exciting things coming throughout this year, next year. I don't know. I just want everything we know just to happen because, you know, it's always exciting when there's new things. So if you want to be kept up to date and you want to be the first, make sure you subscribe to the newsletter and that you're getting all that information as well. If you have questions tonight, please ask Sarah. She's waiting there ready to type away and give you all the answers to all the questions you have, so that we can make sure that if you're cooking along with us, you get to keep up with us. And of course, as always, the recipe will be posted. The videos are also posted to our YouTube channel, so you can always catch up. If you're not a very confident cook and you might be watching here tonight thinking, I really don't know, I'm looking at the Cook Expert, I'm really not sure, watch the YouTube videos when you finally decide to make the purchase, because all of the cook-alongs that we've done are actually on there. So even though they're not live, we still are cooking with you and we can talk you through step by step. So it's a really good way to feel more confident. If you're a recent purchaser of the Cook Expert, it's a really fabulous way to get on there and to be able to, again, go step by step through everything that we do and all of those recipes that we've put together as well. So we do spend time creating those recipes for you. We do make sure that we save all of those things too. So like I said, to our YouTube channel, so that you've got the access to everything. And really, because I think, you know, learning to use, or even if you're using it, but you haven't used it for a little while and you're starting to kind of feel, I don't know, I'm not, you know, I'm really not feeling it, I'm not getting it, I'm not, you know, get on there and have a look at some recipes, and, you know, it'll have the titles of what the recipes are on there as well. So you can go through and pick and choose to the ones that you think are something that your family or yourself is really going to enjoy. So don't lose interest, don't lose love, and don't be nervous if you're new. So there's lots of information there for you, lots of hand holding, lots of step-by-step as well. We've also got the one-on-one opportunity through like a Zoom, so you can actually do that too to get more information and get your confidence, because that's really what it's all about. Let's be honest. I mean, there's not much I always find if you're really good at something and you're really confident at something, it's really easy to do. So, you know, make sure that you turn this into the really easy thing in your life and in your household. Okay, we must be nearly there. Okay, so, oh look, 40 seconds. For those of you who are cooking, I hope that you can start to smell that and you can start to see the little bubbling going on in there. That's why I really wanted to turn that temperature up and get it up to 140. I am going to turn the temperature back down once I put the pasta in there, back down to 120, but we just really want to get this going. Do you know what I also love is the fact that you can put it on 1A and you're not turning your mince into soup. It's just going to give it a stir, like you would if you were doing a bolognese sauce on a hot plate. It's just giving it that stir every now and then so that you can just walk away, set and forget. Who doesn't love that? Okay, we're nearly there. Must be on the countdown now. Oh, there you go. Okay, so we've got that steaming away. I'm not even going to stir anything. So with the risoni, in the recipe I did say 300 to 400 grams. The 300 grams if you like a lot saucier pasta, and the 400 grams if you like less saucier pasta because you want more pasta. If you, at this stage, have decided, after my little chat about pasta, that you don't want to put the pasta in, that you just want to make the bolognese sauce, and a huge batch of it at that, this is the stage where you just keep cooking. So I'm going to throw in, well, where's my max line? Probably covered it. So I'm going to pop in what I had there of the macaroni. So that was about 300 grams. And we're going to give that, I don't really need to stir it. I'm just poking it in for the fun of it, really. Okay. Oh, I can see all my little bubbles coming up there. And we're going to pop the lid back on there. Now, I didn't try leaving it at 140. I didn't feel comfortable leaving it at 140. If you want to try it, by all means, have a go, but we're going to go with 120. So back to 120, we're going to go for 10 minutes, and we're also going to stay on 1A. Just going to give that a little stir every now and then. So, some things coming up. What have we got? Okay, so this Sunday, so we're based here in Sydney. This Sunday, I am going to be doing a demonstration at Peters of Kensington at Kensington. So it's on Anzac Parade in Kensington. So anyone that would be interested to come along and say hello, come along to learn a new recipe, come along to talk and ask all of your questions as well, which is really exciting. It's from 12 till 2, but you have to register. So it's a free event, but you have to book online. So you need to go to the Peters of Kensington website to actually be able to book a ticket for that, and it is limited numbers. So they did start advertising it yesterday. I think half the seats were gone when they messaged me today. But if you are in Sydney, you are interested in coming along. I know I have met a few of our viewers that come onto the Cookalongs at other events, which is always really nice. So if you do get to come along, please come up and say hello. We'll probably recognise your name as well, which is always nice. But come and say hello, and if you've got questions and want to ask us there on the day, you absolutely feel free. 12 till 2, did I say that? So that's Peters of Kensington in Kensington. Sorry if you don't live in Sydney, but they had a flight sale maybe. You could just jump on and have a look and fly up for the day and come and say hello. Wouldn't that be fun? And do some shopping while you're there. So yes, so we've got that on, which is going to be exciting and a good one to do. We also are doing another one in Kitchen Warehouse in Artarmon on the day before Mother's Day. So if that's the 14th, the Saturday, I can't remember now if it's the 14th or the 15th. I think it's the 14th. But it's the Saturday before Mother's Day. We are going to be there. Again, I think you need to register for that event as well. Or just come along and say hello. We're going to have some, tasting. It's going to be a bit of a Mother's Day breakfast theme. So we will be in there to say hello and to, again, answer your questions, come and see some new recipes, come and learn something. They're always good, fun events to be involved in. So you're welcome to come along. I think that's all we have at the moment. I know in the other states you're like, please, 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 and we will get there, but we are just a little team at the moment, so it's really hard to be everywhere. And things are a little bit hectic as well with TVSN. So if you've been catching up with that, it's been crazy. It's been amazing, and we've been loving it with that amazing deal of the XL Bowl. So there's so much going on and so much out there. I know that, you're all... I know lots of you do watch, which is really exciting, so we love that. And thank you for all of those who send in emails on the night and say hi and, love the fact that you're getting new recipes and you're learning new things and all those things. Anything you can get with some live hints, tips, cooking information is always going to be really good for you. So, yes, that is that. What else can I tell you? I have to be really careful of the things that I do tell you because there's obviously things going on in there that I can't tell you. And I'm sure that you'd love to know, you're dying to know, but we'll just have to wait. So if you're doing risoni tonight, please remember that it is not going to be fully cooked through at the 10th minute, okay? So when we've put this in, it's not going to be fully cooked through. So if you are running late, I'm going to give you a quick rundown of what we've done today because I know when I was answering for Sarah 2 weeks ago, there was a lady that had jumped on. She was running late. She was trying to cook along. She was getting lost because we were in front of her. So I was trying to answer her questions as we went. So let's just give you a little recap. So we started by chopping up the carrots, zucchini and mushrooms in the food processor. I did it in the large bowl. I did it with the main blade and I absolutely blitzed the life out of those poor carrots, zucchinis and mushrooms because I'm a vegetable hider. So there are vegetable seeds and vegetable hiders and I'm a hider when it comes to those sorts of vegetables in this house. So they're all hidden in there and you won't even see that they're in there. They'll be all red by the time we get to the end of this. And then we set that aside. Then we got our Cook Expert bowl out and we chopped our onion and our garlic. We added, the tip that I showed you too, when you're chopping your onion and garlic, not to use the pulse button. What I've learnt is now to start on 3 and gradually turn the speed up until you see the little ball of onion turn into no ball of onion. And then you know it's done, ready to go. We added our herbs, we added some oil, we cooked that off for about 3 minutes with the cap off. From there we added our 500 grams of mince. If you wanted to be doing a kilo of mince, you need to be going with an XL bowl because I have filled this to absolute capacity using my 500 grams. So you need, if you've got an XL bowl, by all means you can go to a kilo of mince. So don't double everything though. So you don't have to double the liquid. People make that mistake of thinking I'll just double everything. Yes, you can double the mince, but you don't necessarily have to double all of the liquid that you're putting in there. So just be careful of that. We then browned off our mince for 5 minutes on 1A, gives it that sort of stir every couple of minutes. We then added in our passata, our stock, our secret ingredient, tomato paste, the stock, did I say that? All of that went into there and we cooked that off for 5 minutes, but we put the temperature right up to 140 because in that 5 minutes we really wanted to see that, the sauce start to really sort of get that bubble as well. So we've now got our pasta in there. So unfortunately I didn't have risoni tonight, which I did mention, but I've got a little cute little macaroni which is going to do the same job because it cooks in 8 minutes anyway. So actually I will check this at the 8 minute. The other option is to keep cooking your sauce. Now I did mention that when I do a bolognese, I actually will cook it for a lot longer. And if that was just the sauce in there, I would actually let that cook for a good hour. And the reason I do that is because I just like to let it keep cooking. I just think the flavour intensifies. It gets, you know, just more sort of, I don't know, I really enjoy, you know, when I can actually do that and set it aside and cook it for a lot longer. Again, this was perfectly ready to go after the last 10 minutes of this one. But it's just, you know, another tip if you want to really cook that bolognese sauce like our Italian nonnas did, then they don't take it off after 15 minutes, let me tell you. It continues to cook for hours and hours probably. So anyone out there that could answer that for us, how long do you cook your bolognese sauce for? I think it depends on how much time you've got. So this is going to be cooked, but yes, you can definitely cook it for longer without the pasta. You can also do this as just your sauce, freeze it in batches. Batch cooking, who does not love batch cooking? Batch cooking is a really great way to then be able to store. Now, normally if you were to serve up dinner, you'd probably have 125 grams of protein. Okay, so this would serve 4 people normally, just based on the amount of minced meat in there. But the fact that we've got so many vegetables in there as well really just means that it's also increasing the serving size. So out of this, we have got now 2.8 litres of bolognese sauce, and that is definitely not a serving for 4 people. So I think you'll find that a sauce like that you can be freezing in freezing in batches, popping it into your freezer for those nights. Netball season has just started, soccer season has just started. Probably the worst 2 sports when it comes to the training, because there you're outside and it's cold and blah, blah, blah. Who wants to be out there? If you're the mum or the dad, you're doing the running back and forth, the drop off, the pick up. In between, you're trying to organise dinner. That's where this comes in. And that's where the batch cooking and the leftovers and all those things in the fridge really kick into place as well. So how long have we got? Oh, we've only got less than 2 minutes to go. So you don't have to listen to me for much longer. So my pasta, I'm actually just going to check mine, because remember that because I put in macaroni. Oh my gosh, I wish you could smell and you could see that. Please tell me who's cooking along and who's actually smelling this in their kitchen right now. Oh, I'm just going to grab, and I'm so not going to burn myself. Just want to poke it. No, it could still go a little bit longer anyway. It said 8 minutes on the packet, so I just wasn't 100%. So let's just keep going. But like I said, we're going to get to the end of this, and normally I would serve this up straight away. I'm asking you to let it sit for 10 minutes. Just let the liquid absorb into that pasta. Let it really soak in. Make sure that pasta's cooked through. Do not keep cooking it. That is the one thing, because you're going to be so tempted to. And I have done a recipe once before where the same instructions were left with you. It's like when I do live shows and I say, don't try the soup, blow on it first, and they don't listen. If anyone's watched one of our presenters do that, it makes me laugh every time, because I'm like, I'm not your mother, but I did warn you. Be very careful. Everything that comes out of here is hot. So yes, I am warning you with this one. I want you to let it sit for 10 minutes, because you're going to get to the end of this and go, oh, that was a crap recipe, Vanessa. It wasn't even cooked. I know, but you need to give it that rest time. So go and pour yourself a glass of wine. Go and get the kids to start washing their hands and lining up and getting off their devices or finishing off their homework or whatever it is that they're doing. Get them all ready. Get your bowls out while it sits. You know, just it doesn't have to be a big rush, and then you're all ready to go. So if you want us to season this, okay, seasoning is completely up to you. If you want to season this, by all means, go ahead, salt, pepper. I do not, until whoever it is that's eating it seasons it themselves. Seasons it themselves. That's really hard to say quickly. Seasons it themselves. Because everybody's different. Some people, I don't really like pepper on my bolognese when I know what it is, and I actually don't mind pepper normally, so who knows, go figure. So again, seasoning is complete personal choice, and we're going to go in here. Now, I don't know whether you can see, but we've got that really bubbling, and that's exactly what we wanted. Now, you're going to look at this and go, wow, it's really liquidy. It's okay, I promise you, okay? By the time you let this soak in, by the time you let that pasta absorb all of that liquid, by the time you, like I said, get everyone rounded up, but let me just show you. So I will serve up. I'm just going to scoop it like this. Okay. Honestly, even if you let it, because this is what I did when I tested it, I was like, oh, I don't know, what do I do? And I'd sort of read things about don't overdo it, you know, be careful. So I served it into the bowl, And then I thought, nah, that's not ready. It's really liquidy, not going to work. Don't think I'm going to like it. Honestly, I came back to it within like minutes and it was completely different. So let me just, no, that pasta's 100% not cooked through, but this is what we want. Okay, so I'm going to leave that and I'm just going to show you what I will do at the end, and that is get out my trusty block of Parmesan. Nothing better than fresh grated Parmesan. So we're going to grate that along there like that. What have we done? Oh, well, I'm just over 30 minutes, but you know, that's okay. And voila, you have that beautiful. You can see already, can you see already that that is starting to absorb most of that liquid? So I promise you I'm not lying. Just let it rest, pour yourself a glass of wine, get yourself ready, get the kids and the husbands inside, the dogs outside, get ready, enjoy, and I hope that you love it. And I will see you very soon. And if you come to Peters to Kensington or to Kitchen Warehouse at our time, please come